Dear MAGA Clan, this video is dedicated to you. It seems some of my recent work have stirred up quite the controversy amongst you, as my comment threads are swamped with slanderous language and insults. I will say this, anyone can call names and such, but it takes a coherent thought process to form an argument worthy of debate. That said, calling someone a liberal is not the flex you imagine. America was founded on liberalism. Allow me to remind you, conservatives of that day allied with the British Crown during the American Revolution. Perhaps you aren't aware of what liberty and liberalism actually mean. In short, it means freedom, but to you, it means freedom to oppress those whom you dislike and those whom you disagree with. For the record, I don't hate any of you, but I do think you are insanely ignorant and incapable of profound thought processes as a collective. You allow wannabe dictator politicians like Donald Trump to soak your brains like sponges with hatred, ignorance, and a false sense of patriotism. I think that is the only rational explanation for your unwavering support for someone like Donald Trump, the most unqualified president to ever hold the office, a troubled real estate developer with zero political experience who turned to reality TV after a multitude of business failures. It is astounding how a group of people who are not only against higher education but consistently support politicians who are vocally anti-education are so knowledgeable about every topic and academic discipline. The human brain isn't born pre-filled with expert-level knowledge, so where did you get yours if you didn't obtain a formal education? You didn't. You're just confused as we now live in an age where information is instantly accessible at our fingertips. You scour the internet for information that confirms what you believe is true, and when you have an educational system like the United States that does not emphasize critical thinking skills, such a system is likely to produce an adult populace that will believe anything at face value, significantly when it reinforces whatever attitudes they may already have. This explains why many of you think vaccines are more dangerous than illness itself. This explains why many of you believe the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary. This explains why many of you think everyone who does not sing Donald Trump's praises is corrupt or anti-American. This explains why many of you believe Donald Trump is the greatest president in American history, despite being unable to compare and contrast 5 presidencies to save your lives. This explains why many of you believe Barack Obama was a Muslim terrorist who set out to destroy America despite the evidence proving he is a Christian family man. And now, this is why you believe Alvin Bragg's investigation into Donald Trump is political persecution, when you don't even know what evidence there is against him. You see, you don't know how to think. That's why it is so easy for people like Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson to convince you what to think without any resistance. This explains why many of your MAGA contemporaries attacked the Capitol on January 6th on Donald Trump's command. Yet, you claim to be real Americans, real patriots. Let me remind you, you are neither of such. You are an embarrassment to this beautiful republic, a land filled with the blood, sweat, and tears of our founding fathers who bravely sacrificed their livelihoods for a new world order. Real Americans do not hate their fellow Americans because they disagree with them. Real Americans do not attempt to overthrow the federal government because they didn't win an election. Real Americans do not wish their political opponents to be killed or jailed as dissidents and enemies of the state. And above all, real Americans love America and their loyalty to their country triumphs over all. Your love is to one man, Donald J. Trump, and your loyalty to him has clouded your judgment to the point you are immune to reason. This is no longer about politics and a difference of opinion. It is deeper than that. The fact that you worship Donald Trump reveals more about you than him, because it proves that the character he portrays to you is a reflection of you. And somehow, you feel that chanting arrest Joe Biden and his son will cure your hangover from his 8 million vote loss in 2020. Let me remind you, we do not worship politicians like you. We are not in a cult. Joe Biden is our president, not our messiah. We elected him to be the landlord of America for 4 years, and if he is found to have broken the law in whatever capacity, we would wholeheartedly welcome justice to be delivered. We believe in law and order for all, not just law and order for those whom we agree with. One last thing, you claim that Donald Trump's current legal shortcomings will propel him back to the White House. Sure, time will tell, as it is the final arbiter of all things. Just know, we are prepared to meet you at the ballot box in 2024 to ensure that never happens.
The angels that used to lead me, now they torture my soul.